I hate that. Just right. Hello. Shit, can't remember the voice I gave Simeon. You withheld information from me. Why? I didn't withhold anything. Or at least I didn't mean to.
Okay, so I remembered the Big Berry Circus, right?
No, I mean, yes, but no. Not really a member. I'm still new. That's irrelevant. You're still a member. Beep.
Let's try this again. Why didn't you tell us?
Because it would have looked so suspicious. Me being a performer in the circus show. Me being friends with Bronco. Thought that if anyone found out, nobody would believe I was innocent. Even you, Kay. I thought I'd made it clear that I believed in you. But when you stare at me like that, I get so terrified. You're a real smooth operator, aren't you, Miles? Any other clients, scaring tips you want to share? You're really not helping, Fender. And at this rate, it sounds like we really will need to question him about everything all over again.
So what do you do at the circus, Simeon?
I'm an animal tamer, kind of. I'm still learning the ropes.
That's so cool. Do you get to train lions and tigers and bears and stuff?
Lions? Tigers? Oh my! No. Oh, I work with this little guy. Looks pretty tame already to me. Friggin' monkey again. So, you're not exactly a tamer, more like one of those old-timey organ grinders. Not now, Money. I'm trying to... Oh, you little scamp. Something tells me it's the organ grinder who's being monkeyed around. Blech. I got a cold. Oh my god, that'll be annoying. When we spoke to you before, you said you worked at a company. I was telling the truth. The circus really is a company. We all have titles and everything. The ringmaster's a CEO and I guess you'd call me a gopher. I even have a line manager. She's head of the animal taming department. It's part of the showbiz division. She's such an inspiration. There isn't a creature in the world she couldn't convince to do her bidding. Even Miles here? I'd like to see somebody whip him into shape. I'm not some kind of creature, Fender. Blech. So, this line manager, was she working with you on the show? Yes, it was just us two. Not that big of a job compared to what we normally do. He's usually the one performing on stage. I just do all the monkey work. But I did have a bit part this time. So, only 2 members of the circus are relevant to this case. Alright, talk me through your movements here at the facility. Sure, I came to see Bronco at around noon 2 days ago. And that was when you brought him the chess set. Yes, and that same evening I started working on setting up the stage in the yard. So hard, I had to haul everything in by myself, over multiple trips. let us use one of the rooms in the prison for storage. Workshop A, I think. Workshop A, where Knight's body was found.
You mean your boss didn't help you?
Oh no, I could never ask her to fill up all that stuff around like I said. The monkey work's my job. Once it was all set up, we did a run-through, and it must have been midnight by the time I left. Next morning I was back and ready for the show, which started at 8 AM. Then we performed till 10. So, Mr. Saint was the only one of the pair to have entered the room where the body was found. And Knight's body was found immediately after the show had ended. Do you have any idea why you were arrested? And why so quickly? I've never seen a guy get booked so fast. Surely even Mel Winner wouldn't just pull somebody in on a hunch. Never underestimate the power of an underdeveloped intellect. I think I might know why. I was moving all the stuff. I went to go see how he was doing. Bronco, I mean. You went to the holding cells on your own? Tell me you had permission. No, it wasn't a formal visit or anything. I just sort of snuck over and hoped no one stopped me. But you'd just seen him earlier that same day. Why take the risk? Known him since we were kids, when both of us were all alone. He doesn't have any family, you see. It's like me. Knew he'd be feeling lonely, that he'd want somebody to talk to, so I had to go see him. You don't have any family? For a while I had my dad, but he passed away when I was a little kid. Losing one's father as a child. I know that pain all too well.
Just like you and me, Mr. Edgeworth.
There was nobody else nearby when you went to see him? No, the other holding cells were empty, and I didn't see any guards. Well, somebody must have seen you, or you wouldn't be in there. No. I messed up so bad, didn't I? So, the assumption is that something happened while the two were alone together. At least, I imagine that would be Winner and Judge Gamble's thinking. In any case, I think we need to speak to your boss next. Last I heard, she's supposed to be around today too, somewhere in the yard. Tell her I'm sorry, won't you? So sorry. Can't believe I let this happen.
Sure thing, Simeon. We're here for you. If there's anything else we can do, just say the word.
But, I mean, that is, there's nothing I can do for you in return.
You don't have to worry about that. We're friends. We know what it's like to be in your shoes. We're all part of the same club after all, right, Mr. Edgeworth?
Unfortunately so, I'm afraid. Thank you for sharing such personal details with us. By the sounds of it, you had little reason to kill Knight. If anything, you're the one most affected by his passing. And what's more, I simply don't believe a person as gentle as you is capable of murder. Rest assured, we believe you, and we will get you out of here. Well, what do we have here? A gosh darn defense attorney? That's what. Bravo, big guy. Can't believe I'm saying it, but you even reminded me of your old man for a moment there. I did? From the Book of Gregory, an attorney is a friend to the friendless. Simeon Mabucco, this guy will suffer any hardship for your friendship. Things are gonna be shiply amazing. I didn't realize Talk Like a Pirate Day had come early this year, Fender. Well, but that's just the thing. You never know when a pirate will strike next. Anyway, kid, you want some candy?
No thanks. Don't like sweet stuff.
Oh, huh? Bummer.
wouldn't mind a nice ship myself. A great thief's galleon for the dread pirate K. Yar, my hearties! I'll sail the seven seas together and claim the greatest treasure of all, the truth.
Shiver my timbers. You two will be the death of me. Come on, let's set sail for the prison yard. But no sea shanties on the way, please.
Look, the shutter's open.
That's the way out to the yard, I believe.
Let's go take a look. Come on, what are you waiting for?
Someone's excited. So, this is the famous yard. The circus performance was taking place here just before the body was discovered.
Check it out. Like the backdrop to some epic festival.
Most of the prisoners were assembled here when the body was discovered, which means that anyone who saw the show has an alibi. Alright, time to take a look around.
Eesh.
Okay.
Stop hitting me! Help, Mr. Edgeworth!
Cease and desist, you beast.
Ah! Somebody! Ouch! Help! Help me! Stay, Aziz. Stay. Who's that? Ah, you found a new friend to play with. Good for you, girl. Play with? Your elephant nearly ate me. No way. She'd never do a thing like that. Aziza doesn't even bite. At least, not very often.
So she does have a taste for human flesh.
How did you like meeting a real live elephant up close? Aren't you glad you did? Yeah, glad I didn't die. But you did have fun, right? Right?
There, sweetie. Don't cry. She had a wonderful time, didn't you, Kay? Don't mislead the poor girl, Fender.
She did? Oh, I'm so happy.
Yeah, let me make it up to you. How about a hug? You keep your trunk to yourself.
Another new friend. Isn't this just the best day ever?
I am Associate Defense Attorney Miles Edgeworth.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I haven't even introduced myself. I'm Virginia. It's so nice to meet you. I'm Kate, Great Thief Extraordinaire, Mr. Associate Defense Attorney's Great Associate.
My self-introduction brought to you by the word convoluted.
And your elephant's newest friend is Mr. Fender, the Defense Attorney. Oh, she's not just any elephant. That's Azea, the Asian elephant. Azea stopped the second you told her to. You really have a way with animals, Virginia. Well, I wouldn't be much of an animal tamer if I didn't. What? So you're Simeon's boss? That's right. Virginia Berry, head of the Animal Taming Department, Showbiz Division, Big Berry Circus. Very big circus. Very big circus. Very big, not Big Mary. Very big circus. It's so lovely to meet all of you.
The pleasure's all ours, mademoiselle. Name's Eddie Fender. I'm a bit of an ace attorney. So much for whipping me into shape.
Yes, she's perfect.
What are you muttering to yourself about, Kay?
That positivity, that charisma, that energy. Virginia, you make a perfect partner in crime for the great Prefect Garasu. Great thief? That sounds like fun. My animals and I have stolen the spotlight quite a bit in our time. That's the one thing we don't want to steal. Gotta keep it on the down low, all stealthy ninja-like. But where's the fun without a show? The down low sounds like it might get me down. Bummer. I think we got a fundamental difference of opinion going on here.
It would indeed appear that negotiations have broken down. Maybe next time, Kay.
Well, Mr. Edgeworth, let's get cracking. Too bad we can't see much of what's beyond that metal fence, though.
Indeed, and we're in sore need of information in addition to evidence. Therefore, we should make an effort to talk with any persons of interest as well.
Hey!
Who are you shouting at?
Sounds like these usually have goldfish in them, right? I wanted to see if they'd come say hello.
You only see water striders.
Hey, water striders are cool. They can walk on water like ninjas. Whoosh whoosh. Man, I wish I could do that.
So much for the goldfish. Ugh, saw it again.
Danger! High voltage! I've never seen one of these in real life. Hey, that must be the fabulous garden outside the warden's office over there.
Ah yes. Warden Lagarde mentioned being able to see it from a window on the detention center side.
Wish this dumb bar metal fence wasn't in the way though. I thought it was all one big yard.
Given how protective the warden seemed of her little bit of earth, I imagine it's to keep riffraff like us out. An Asian elephant named Zaya, and one of the very big circus's many animals. He certainly seems very fond of petting humans, based on what we've seen. Well, most humans.
You can't just glare at her like that, Mr. Edgeworth. She'll think you're trying to show her who's boss.
Are you telling me she thinks I'm one of her kind?
No, just that she respects you, I guess.
How comforting. What's up? Who doesn't love a good circus performance, eh? A foray into the realm of fantasy. If the performance is a good one, it can certainly be entertaining, yes. Man, I'm getting pumped just thinking about it. A chance to escape reality, however brief, can often be a powerful tonic. You got that right. Doesn't it just make you want to hug something? Like the circus. Holding a show here right in the shadow of the fence that keeps these guys in. I guess the magic of the big top is enough to make them forget that they're in the same boat as the animals. The fence. I suppose I should examine it too. It is a part of this facility after all. Well, we missed the show, but we still got the stage and all the other stuff to check out. He's right. I should also look over the show set and equipment, just in case something useful turns up. Chat over, huh? You don't exactly give a guy a lot to work with, Miles. Kid's really something, huh? Wish I still had a tenth of her starry-eyed outlook. I suppose that's because her head seems to be up in the clouds. Right? She's so above it all, but no one dares to go against her. But she doesn't even need to crack the whip with the animals. The eyes go from starry to steely, and suddenly it's sit, stay. I can think of somebody who very much enjoys cracking the whip. And you can, huh? Sounds like a real piece of work. Come on, Miles Areno, spill the beans. Trust me, Fender. One crack of her whip and you'll be running for the courthouse doors. A wicker basket, or rather a cart given the wheels.
Ooh, smells like animals.
I suppose they must have been using it to move things around.
Hey, wouldn't it be fun to hop in and race it down a hill? Oh, you know what else would be fun? Racing down a hill on office chairs.
Where did any of that come from? This door appears to be locked.
Want me to open it? Can't guarantee anything, but I'll certainly give it a try.
No, if we deem it necessary, we will simply ask for the key.
Well, sport. Gonna be my chance to shine.
You're free to shine somewhere else, but you'll not make an audience out of me. This must be the stage for the show.
Do you think people would be interested in a great thieving show?
I'm sure the police would be very eager to attend. A simple, sturdily built well. I wonder if it was the work of the prisoners.
Somebody left a bunch of tools lying around. Long piece of rope and a pretty heavy looking weight. Let's see, it weighs 30 pounds. Well, there's some pillies too.
Okay, can you stop touching everything in sight?
Oh, come on. Not like I was gonna take anything.
What exactly were they being used for, I wonder?
Yeah, they're not gonna... fine.
These chairs must have been for the audience.
Well, pity whoever had to put them away.
Really? Why?
You clearly never had to fold up a bunch of boring chairs before, huh?
Not personally. I've told other people to do it, though.
Come on, Mr. Edgeworth. You gotta roll up your sleeves and help out once in a while.
I'll consider it. If you're the head of the animal taming department, you must be Mr. Saint's boss.
That's right. My dad founded the very big circus. But he passed away. He was murdered. I'm sorry to hear that. But we have a new ringmaster now, and he's made the circus bigger and better than ever. Such a nice man. He was a good friend of my dad's too. Wow, that's great. Lucky you. I know, right? It was his idea to set up departments like animal taming, magic, and ventriloquy. Only animal taming and ventriloquy have more than one person right now. But the very big circus is getting bigger and better day by day. Sounds like you guys are really going places.
They're getting on well. I'll leave them to it. Can you tell me about the show?
Oh, it's a wonderful thing. It even has a story. Not just any story. It's a love story. Isn't that dreamy?
Sounds like a regular ride. So who's the star of the show? Let me guess. You?
No, silly. That would be Isaiah. She falls in love with none other than Regent a tiger. It's a heart-rending saga of forbidden interspecies romance.
Whoa, Nelly. I've heard of odd couples, but that takes the biscuit.
And that's not all. There's a love triangle too. So romantic. That sounds pretty incredible, huh, Mr. Edgeworth?
So the elephant is the heroine. I suppose there's a first time for everything. And, who's the third wheel?
Oh, that would be the big old meanie who tries to tear our star-crossed lovers apart. Oh, what animal do you think it is, Mr. Edgeworth?
Given that it's a circus, perhaps a lion?
I think a raven would be cool, like the Yatagarasu. Nope, it's a sneaky monkey.
That's certainly lowered the stakes.
Oh, you mean money, right? Nope again. The role of the monkey is played by Simeon. Money's far too small to play against Isaiah and Regent, silly. Anyway, evil villain tries to tear Isaiah and Regent apart. What will become of the fated twosome? It's so excited, isn't it? Wow, it sure is.
So, Mr. Saint was more than just the little helper he claims to be.
Well, Simeon, it'd be terrible if he couldn't perform with us anymore.
Can you tell me about how you set things up for the performance?
Oh, that's not really my area. Simeon took care of all the lifting and carrying. He's such a sweetie. He offered to do everything by telling me to concentrate on the show. I did see him doing something near that well, though.
Well, I recall seeing one behind the stage. I should examine it in more detail.
You should have seen him, moving those huge cages all around all by himself. He's a total hero. Yeah, feels like something he would do.
Weeping all the while.
He was going back and forth between the yard, here and some sort of workshop with all the equipment. The prison gave us special permission to use it for storage. But he was the only one who went down there, so I don't know much more than that.
The workshop must be the one where Knight's body was found. I guess this confirms that Mr. Saint was the only performer to have gone into Workshop A.
Well, this sucks. All we're getting is information that works against us. You have to help Simeon, Mr. Attorney. We're all counting on you. Just leave it to us. You may not look it, but Mr. Edgeworth knows how to get things done.
And what exactly is he may not look it supposed to mean?
There you are. Virginia Cupcake. Oh, Warden the Guard. I've been simply dying to sit you down for a chat, you exquisite little thing.
Do you mind if I ask a little about the prison?
Oh, not at all. This place is my pride and joy, my home. Sure, it was a prison when I first arrived, and it was awful, but not a disgrace.
Awful. I suppose you mean the prisoners were unruly.
I most certainly do not. They're angels, every one of them, and they always have been. No, it was the ambience that was awful. I fretted, I brooded, and then it hit me. The animals. If anyone could brighten up the place, it was them. It's nice having them around, isn't it just? And now look at my fabulous little family. Why, my darling Frankie is the very picture of rehabilitation.
Except when he's rifling through Dad's men's pockets.
We have so many success stories among the family, but darling Frankie really is a marvel. He's thrown himself into his vocational training, and is always the first to volunteer for everything. What? And your other model prisoners don't do that? Oh, of course they do, my dear. Of course. They're all such tryers, such doers. It's just that Frankie, let's just say he knows what's good for him.
What exactly does she mean by that?
Anyway, he's a very good boy, so do try to be nice to him, won't you? Loud, soaring music, great leaping animals, and the very big circus truly has it all. And everybody here who comes here gets to see it once a month. Really? In that case, let me see.
You'd better not be thinking of something to confess to. This monthly show, is it always performed by the Berry Big Circus?
But of course, sweetie. I'm Reginia's biggest fan. That gal's my little princess. My superstar. She's so wonderfully talented. Yes, she is. Yes, she is. And she's so adorable. So sweet. I could just gobble her right up. You're not lying when you say you're your biggest fan, huh? Which is why I'm worried about her. So worried. It's all because of Paul Simeon, you see. If he's found guilty, why, darling Virginia will be devastated. So you simply must make sure that doesn't happen, Mr. Lawyer. Please, I'm begging you. If there's anything I can do to help you clear up this awful misunderstanding, just let me know. Ah, Mr. Attorney, sir. And how are you today, if you don't mind me asking? Today, we just talked to you earlier, Mr. Sorit. Oh heavens, I do apologize. Ever since I came to call this place home, I've been working on my interpersonal skills, you see. In order to be as annoying as possible. I'm currently helping out with the circus's show stage, tear down and clean up. But if you have need of me, I'll do my utmost to help. I'm just chipping in and doing what I can, model prisoner that I am. Yes, my stay in this prison has seen me reborn. The Frank Sorit you see before you is a changed man. A changed man who now targets the recently deceased. No, you misunderstand. It was just a moment of madness. Moment of madness? You're a disgrace to all thieves everywhere. You're right, of course. I can't deny it. Still have a long way to go. As a thief? Anyway, as you can see, I have a shiny new bracelet now. So it's the straight and narrow for me. Like I say, I'm a model prisoner. Not that a real model prisoner would need to keep telling me that. I'm doing everything I can to prepare for my eventual return to society. Yeah, you even skipped the show to focus on your training, didn't you? That's right. Only 2 inmates were present, Sorit and Canis. Why didn't you tell us about Mr. Canis sooner? That. Look, I don't think there's an inmate in this prison who'd talk about him if they didn't have to. He's, well, could say he's the real one in charge around here. Didn't hear it from me, but, well, I guess it comes with being the fixer. The fixer? Yes. Anything you need, he can get it for you. But how does he get away with it? I'm not sure, but he's the only one who does. I heard he has a secret way of getting things into the facility. I imagine being the fixer affords Canis certain privileges. Not that I concern myself with such things anymore, of course. I'm far more interested in perfecting my mud pack application technique. And what are those mud plaques exactly? They're a special type of mud treatment, rich with minerals. Works wonders on their coats. I've been practicing on the animals here in the prison. I hope to treat them all eventually. Speaking of mud, that reminds me of a certain piece of evidence. Maybe I should try presenting it to him. That's the rubber glove I dropped. Would you care to explain why it's so dirty?
Oh, of course. That's mud from one of the pet treatments I've been practicing. I was giving one of the animals a mud pack right when the incident happened. I see. Around what time would this have been? Let's see. The show had already started, so around 9 AM perhaps? The thing is, the more mud I applied, the more in the zone I got, and the darker the animal's fur became. There's no trance quite like the trance one enters when one slathers an animal with thick black mud. I think the stress of prison might be getting to him. Of course, it's all thanks to the warden that we have access to such wonderful distractions. I'm eternally grateful, truly I am.
Virginia, darling, you put on the most splendid show for us yet again. The stage, the stars, and you in particular, my princess, it was simply divine. That's so nice of you. I hope everybody else who watched enjoyed it too. About that, dear, I'm afraid I have something awful to confess. There were some absences, you see.
You must mean Canis and saw it.
We were 3 members short. Unbelievable, I know. How will you ever forgive me?
I'm sorry, but you're saying 3 inmates didn't attend the show?
That's right, sweetie. I counted the seats myself. 1, 2, 3 no-shows. I always make sure there are enough seats for everybody. Mr. Edgeworth, that's not right, is it?
Indeed, as far as we were aware, Mr. Canis and Mr. Sword were the only ones not present. This doesn't add up. Who is the 3rd missing prisoner and what were they doing? Seems we need to investigate further.
Oh, I was enjoying my chat with dear Virginia so much I almost forgot. I must feed the little one.
Little one?
Yikes! Alligator! You're looking as adorable as always, Ellie, my sweet. She's so pretty, and what a cute name. Yes, Ellie the alligator. Isn't she a darling? She's my favorite, aren't you? Yes, you are. I'm so jealous. Can I pet her? Of course, princess, of course.
Why, howdy. Those two were made for one another. They look like they'll be busy for a while.
Maybe we should, go back inside the prison and check the cells.
Yes, let's. Perhaps we can find a clue there as to who our 3rd missing prisoner might be. Sir, Mr. Edgeworth, sir. Oh, I finally caught up with you. Detective, you're not needed elsewhere. No, the judge and the kid aren't here yet. Oh, and I got your message. So you searched the victim's cell. Did you manage to turn up anything? Well, we struck gold, sir. Well, blood anyway. It was right there on the floor. Only in tiny specks though, but at least it's something.
Yeah, it proves that the holding cell was the scene of the crime, right?
Not quite. It proves a possibility, but it's not conclusive yet. Well, I thought you'd say that, sir, which is why I ordered some follow-up work. I asked forensics to analyse the blood and see if it matches the victims. They're on it as we speak.
Nice work, Gummy. You thought of everything.
Detective, I must say I'm impressed. Did you hit your head or something? Oh, gee, don't look so surprised, sir. I just hope things continue to go in our favour. Alrighty, so that's proof that the murder happened in the detention centre. And for our next trick...
We'll find out how that dog got over there.
Oh, don't worry. You can leave that one to me. Till the kid and his chaperone get here, we've got the whole prison to ourselves. Which is why I brought my secret weapons along.
Secret weapons?
That's right. A few tools of the trade that have helped me bust more than a few cases wide open. Behold, a severed secret weapons of Dick Gumshoe. Thanks, Detective Extraordinaire. Well, I don't know about you crazy cats, but I'm sold. Miles? Very well, Detective. We'll try using your secret weapons. Oh, you got it, sir. Let me run you through the list. Secret weapon number 1. A trusty old metal detector. It's made of steel, silver, or scrap. Yeah, if it's made of steel, silver, or scrap, this little guy right here will find it. So it detects metal. Very good, Detective. Next up, secret weapon number 2. Missile, everyone's favourite crime-fighting canine. You can track pretty much any scent you put in front of him, especially food.
Sure is a lot cuter than Mr. Canis's dog.
Now for secret weapon number 3. Oh, where'd I put it? Aha! One snapper short of a score, or is that a fishing rod? Don't tell me we're going fishing for clues. No, I mean, I just happen to have it with me is all. I see. Well, onwards and upwards, Detective. Let's see what else you have. That's all she wrote, sir.
Gummy, you're 4 secret weapons short of your so-called 7, and one of them was a fishing rod.
Sorry, but that's all for today, okay? I'll, show you the rest next time. Why do you think I call them secret? Guy can't just go sharing everything at once. That's crazy. In that case, then I suppose the 3 you've deigned to reveal to us will have to do for now. Alright, which one do you want to try, sir? The metal detector seems promising. Coming right up, sir. I'll just crank the old go up. Away we go. Is everything all right, Detective? Uh-oh. Looks like I should have bought a spare battery.
Oof, not gonna be much help.
Sorry, sir. Looks like the metal detector will have to wait. Let's try something else. Good Lord. Missile. Oh, you got it, sir. Hey, missile. Here, boy.
He really came.
Now, what are we tracking? I'm trying to find out how Mr. Canis's dog got to the holding cells in the first place. I suspect the same route was used to bring Knight's body back to the prison. So we give the pooch a sniff of the body.
And he'll find that route for us.
Oh, does anyone else smell something sweet? All I smell is the odor of blood.
Right, sir.
It's faint, sir, but it's there. Almost like cake, maybe. Why would the body smell of cake? Okay, Miss O, get a noseful. Here we go. Follow that dog. That's the way to... He's headed for maximum security.
Oh, he's going in.
Then we'll just have to follow after him. This is Canis's cell. Though the man himself is absent, it seems. Is he meeting with someone in the visitor's room?
Do you think Missile's onto something?
Look, looks like maybe he is. Is there something here?
Let's get snooping, Mr. Edgeworth.
Tea and rice crackers. Mr. Canis clearly doesn't look for comforts.
I can think of worse ways to spend my time in jail than drinking tea and playing chess. Thought this was maximum security, not maximum comfort. How come nobody else gets this special treatment?
Complaining to me isn't going to help. Perhaps you could take it up with the man himself.
Yikes, no thanks. Look, Mr. Edgeworth, that chisel on the floor is a bit smaller than the others.
I'm no woodworker, but perhaps it's an all-purpose one that can be used in a pinch regardless of the job.
An all-purpose pocket chisel? Makes sense. Always nice when your tools are useful and easy to carry.
Is that your opinion as a thief?
Nope, it's my opinion as a great thief.
Walked into that one. Mr. Canis's chisels, each one a potential murder weapon.
That reminds me of something. The furrows of in your brow when you frown. It looks like somebody took a chisel to your forehead.
I have no idea what you mean.
See? They're so deep. Don't tell me you don't see it, Mr. Wood-carving face.
Have you quite finished? Mr. Canis's chess set, complete with his special dog piece.
That's not a chess set. That's a whole chess table with legs. Looks like it might be worth something too.
Not inconceivable. None of them are. And this is quite a nice one.
Never would have pegged Mr. Canis as a chess fan though. With the whole Eastern aesthetic he's got going, I thought he'd be more into Go.
Go, huh? Can you play?
I could play Go Fish.
Not the same thing, Kay. Not even close. Oh, what's the matter, boy? Wait, is this cake what you were after? Whoa, down, boy! Stop that! Oh, you can't have it. Dogs can't eat chocolate, you know that. Well, babe, I'll just have to wait it myself. Oh, not bad. That's some real outside the chocolate box thinking there. Not sure everybody agrees, though.
Yummy, I wanted some.
Daring of you both to assume the food in a prison is safe to eat. Well, daring or dumb. Oh, so anyway, looks like it really was Cake Missile's dragon. Talk about a waste of time. I suppose we got our just desserts. But the little guy is definitely capable, right? Oh, sure he is. That was just a blip. I'll follow the right scent this time, I promise. Sink, boy! Oh, I think he's on to something. Oh, whatever it is, it's in there. Mr. Carsetto's cell. We need to take a look inside, Detective. Call the guard. Yes, sir. Thank you, officer. A question before we begin. Is the prisoner, Mr. Carsetto, still in solitary? No, sir. He came back a little while ago. He was here for the noon roll call. Guess he must have been on work duty someplace. I see. Now if you would be so kind as to open his cell? Yes, sir. This punching bag has certainly seen some use. Woof, 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 woof.
What breed were you again, Miss Owl? Sure it wasn't a boxer.
No way. No way indeed. Quickly, detective, move the sandbag aside. Yes, sir. Lord, I just got the right thing straight away, didn't I? Oh, could this be? Oh there, wait, Miss O.
I'm going in too.
Wait, stop. Sir, I'll go get her. That's tight. Shouldn't have eaten that cake. He's gone. Well, I'm not going in there. Guess we'll just have to wait. Hello? Kay? You alright?
You're not gonna believe this, but we're in the detention center.
The detention center?
That hole. It's a tunnel that leads right into Mr. Knight's cell.
What? Don't go anywhere. I'm on my way. Okay.
You know, Mr. Edgeworth, guess you could say we made a breakthrough.
Quite. At least they came out unscathed, I think. Sir, the floorboards under the bed were torn up. So that's how they did it. There's no doubt about it. This must be the route we've been looking for. The corridor connecting the detention center and the prison is locked down by heavy security doors. But with the help of this tunnel, it can be circumvented. It was a sweet scent that started this whole search. Could it be that the scent was in fact coming from Knight's body after all? Incidentally, Knight's body was covered in dirt that might have come from being dragged through this tunnel. Kay, what was it like down there?
Well, it was pitch black, so I couldn't see a whole lot. Luckily, my camera's a flash, so I took some pictures.
And let's see what you've captured. Look at that. Spoons, a fork. I guess they were digging digging the tunnel. That aside, are those footprints? Paw prints even. From a dog, perhaps? This is a vital piece of evidence. However, it begs something of a question. It does? Mr. Carsetto has certainly been making use of this tunnel, which means... Detective, we need to find out where Mr. Carsetto is immediately. If my suspicions are correct. Or not. The guards were alerted, and they began searching for Mr. Carsetto right away. But after a thorough investigation of both the prison and the detention center, he was nowhere to be found.
Well, have the police been notified?
Yes, ma'am. We just finished liaising with them a moment ago. They've set up a cordon around the entire facility.
Good. First blemish on a prison's spotless reputation is always the ugliest.
It won't happen again, ma'am. A rather different Warden Lagarde to the one we've seen so far.
Mr. Edgeworth, was it? I really can't thank you enough for finding that tunnel, darling. Sadly, it may have been too little too late. It seems you might have already left the building.
I'd say that's unlikely, Warden. After all, there's a security gate at the exit to the detention center. You're not suggesting you simply walked through it?
What's to say? There was only that one tunnel, sweetie.
I suppose that's true.
Well, whatever the case, this is no time to be standing around chit-chat. Mr. Edgeworth, would you mind continuing with your investigation?
It would be my pleasure.
And you three can get back to your posts.
Yes, ma'am. Detective, the results of the blood test just came back from the lab. Oh, thanks, pal. Let's see what they have to tell us about the blood found in Knight's cells.
What does it say, Mr. Edgeworth?
They've identified the blood, and it's Knight's. Nice job, everybody. Teamwork makes the dream work, huh? We got Knight's blood in his holding cell, a tunnel a dog clearly went through, and security footage showing Knight being attacked by the dog in his cell. Case closed. We have all the evidence we need. Let's see what Mr. Canis has to say for himself.
Canis? Oh, darlings, are you sure? Do be careful around him, won't you? He's as well connected on the outside as he is in here.
I suppose he would have to be. How else would the so-called fixer stay in business?
The police have been trying to track down his accomplices for the longest time. Even I've had to lend them a hand myself, you know.
So that's what that was all about. Still not talking, ma'am. Even with the evidence you borrowed from the precinct.
No, and I've tried so many times I lost count. What am I supposed to do? I can't send in a blank report.
Guess a killer for hire was always going to be a tough nut to crack. You borrowed evidence from the police to help with your investigation. Is that correct?
Why, yes, sweetie. Everything related to Canis is with me now. Heavens knows how many times I've hauled this secretive scoundrel into my office to talk to me. But no matter what I say or how much evidence I present him with, he simply won't say a word.
The prison warden conducting interrogations herself. That's irregular, to say the least.
Let your guard down and he'll devour you whole. Be careful, darlings. You've been warned.
Ooh, wait. And here I thought things couldn't get any spicier. Great, the little shits here as well. Judge Gambit, I didn't expect to find you here.
We have been conducting inquiries, which, given that we are in charge of the investigation, is hardly strange. What is strange is that you are still here, Mr. Edgeworth. I gave you a warning, did I not? I told you that your badge was at risk should our paths cross again, and yet, here you are.
I'm sorry that you thought I might be so easily discouraged, Your Honor. But I am not about to let the truth slip from my grasp, no matter what you or the committee might say. I'm here to present a certain someone with evidence that you yourselves should have uncovered. You have more business with me, I take it, Mr. Edgeworth. I do. I promised I would be back to prove that you were the killer, and here I am. This should be amusing. Very well. Whenever you are ready.
Objection!
Not so fast. We have some truths of our own to share. First-rate deductions, in fact. Indeed. We are now more certain than ever that Simeon Saint was the murderer. And that only he could have moved Mr. Knight from his holding cell to the prison proper. We shall prove this to you beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Oh God, if only you knew.
But first, a question. Are you quite determined to continue on this course, Mr. Edgeworth? Should you fail to rebut our deductions, there will be no going back. Your very career hangs in the balance.
What? You mean you'll take his badge if you don't like how this goes? That's intimidation.
Not at all. If anything, I am showing him mercy. 'Tis a pity, Mr. Edgeworth. But I am not This is not Mr. Edgeworth's case. It never was, and I am under no obligation to hear him out. If he is prepared to accept the potential ramifications of his actions, I will allow him one last chance. Well, are you truly willing to take the risk, to put your beloved badge on the line? Mr. Edgeworth?
Sure. I accept your terms. I'm confident of my reasoning, and what's more, I am representing the firm of Edgeworth & Co., and I do not intend to besmirch its name. My duty will be done, and I will not be intimidated.
Very well. Let us see whether you are brave or simply reckless. By the power vested in me by the almighty goddess of justice, let this judgment commence. Eustace, if you will allow me. Fine by me. He's all yours, Gavel. You are aware of the incident involving Mr. Knight the day before yesterday, I assume? He assaulted an innocent guard and stole his keys. Later, in the middle of moving a large animal cage, Mr. Saint stopped by Mr. Knight's cell for a little visit. That's when Mr. Knight stole out of his cell using the keys he'd stolen. He slipped into the cage, and there he hid as he was wheeled to one of the prison workshops.
It figured she was going to bring up Mr. Saint going to Knight's cell.
Yesterday, after you so kindly made us aware of the security camera footage, we decided to take a look at it ourselves. Perhaps you would like to see what we found. This is a still from the footage we received.
Mr. Saint speaking with Knight at his cell.
Correct. You will also note that he has positioned the cage in such a way as to obscure the camera's view. It is this blind spot that Mr. Knight exploited in order to enter the cage undetected. A sound deduction based on what can be observed, wouldn't you say?
A blind spot, which means that the camera wouldn't have been able to capture the moment Knight entered the cage, if he did at all. So it's still possible that he didn't actually leave his cell at this point.
I don't get it. Why would Mr. Knight want to hide in the cage? There is really only one possibility. He intended to escape. A prison break? That's so cool. Mr. Cassetto and Mr. Knight, everybody's doing it. I have to step up my game.
Okay, now is really not the time. Mr. Carsetto's escape is no laughing matter.
It is my belief that Mr. Saint helped Mr. Knight with his escape attempt. That is to say, he was his accomplice. Oh, go Simeon.
That wasn't a compliment.
I understand that the cage was briefly taken to one of the workshops. I imagine that had things gone to plan, Mr. Knight would have remained in the cage until after the show, and then removed from the premises along with the rest of the circus's equipment. Unfortunately for Mr. Knight, Mr. Saint had other ideas. He killed his friend in cold blood.
Judge Gavel's argument seems reasonable, but there must be a fault in her logic somewhere, and I'm going to find it. I'm going to save though. Which I really should have been done before doing any pressing, just in case it decides to just insta-lose me for some reason. Because it's done it before in the series.
Hold it!
Your Honor, about this incident.
You have heard about it, of course. Surely any attorney worth his salt would have his sources.
Yes, I am aware of it, of course. I simply wish to confirm...
Then you are wasting both our time. Shall we continue?
Hold it!
Do you have any proof that Knight stole the keys?
I can think of no other reason for him to carry out such a brutal attack. Once the guard he assaulted regains consciousness, I'm sure he will confirm our suspicions.
I wouldn't be so sure. Perhaps I should press her further on her reasoning. Sorry, but I believe there is a flaw in your reasoning. If Knight had the keys, then there was nothing to stop him from leaving whenever he wanted. Why wait for Mr. Saint? There was no need, surely.
He chose the option he deemed most likely to succeed. He stole the keys and hid them somewhere, then waited for an opportune moment to present itself.
He hid the keys? I'm afraid you might have made an uncharacteristic oversight, Your Honor. But Knight wasn't hiding any keys. This has been proven already. This is the piece of evidence that proves Knight didn't have the keys.
Take that!
Since you know about the incident, I assume you must already know this, but after the assault, the guard searched both Knight and his cell, and no keys were found. And if the whereabouts of the keys cannot be proven, then neither can your theory.
I have considered the matter of the missing keys, and I do not think it's such an issue. I still believe he had them. After all, the guards only stated that they were unable to locate them. And this is because they were cleverly hidden inside the pocket chest set.
Knight's chest set, the same set in which the murder weapon was also allegedly hidden.
Was it? I can't help but wonder about that. What? But you're the one who proposed it. Actually, if you recall, that was Eustace's assertion.
So the two of them aren't of one mind on this, I take it.
Allow me to restate the facts. Mr. Knight hid the keys he stole from the guard inside his chest set. When Mr. Saint came to see him, Mr. Knight used the keys to open his cell and climbed inside the cage. He was then moved from his holding cell to that workshop in the prison proper. All with the help of his friend and accomplice. Had things gone according to plan, he would have been taken out of the facility after the show. But they did not. Instead, his accomplice murdered him while the show was taking place in the yard.
Objection!
But Mr. Saint was a part of that performance. How would he ever have had the time to commit the murder?
Overruled!
How indeed? Allow me to explain. As you know, many stage performances follow a set narrative. Yesterday's show was one such example.
He's done her homework, I see.
The suspect played the role of the antagonist opposite the elephantine hero of the show. In the latter part of the performance, the heroine's love prevails and the villain is defeated. This victory is depicted in a very unique manner, whereby the villain is sent flying from the stage by the heroine.
He's sent flying by the elephant.
Isn't that dangerous? Having been ejected from the stage in this manner, the villain no longer appears in the performance. In other words, the suspect did not appear on stage for a period of approximately 15 minutes.
And you're saying the crime took place during that time?
Yes, I'm afraid so. After all, it's more than a sufficient window, wouldn't you say?
Committing the crime and returning to the stage in that short 15-minute window is only possible, assuming that the murder took place in the prison proper. But in fact or not, the real scene of the crime was Knight's cell.
I seem to remember telling you that I would not accept that part of the security footage into evidence.
Objection!
And you won't have to. I have proof of a different kind.
Very well. Would you be so good as to present it? What proof do you have that the murder took place in the victim's holding cell?
Take that!
This appears to be a photograph of a floor. Almighty Goddess of Justice, grant me patience.
That floor you're so dismissive of, Your Honor, has traces of Knight's blood on it.
Traces, you say? Is this evidence reliable? After all, I don't believe you have access to the necessary forensics operatives.
Objection!
I have my resources. A certain blunt instrument, you might say, but a reliable one.
A detective. Very unfortunate for him. Perhaps before you decide to circumvent the law, you might have considered that the committee's influence extends to the police. Oh no, now Gummy's badge is on the line too.
Forgive me, Detective. I didn't mean to put you at risk as well.
I will enter the fact that Mr. Knight's blood was found in the holding cell into evidence. However...
Objection!
Bad luck, idiots. You're really on the edge now, Mr. Worthless.
Mr. Winner, I'd forgotten you were there. It was nice while it lasted.
I just butted in to tell you that your entire argument is one big inconsistency. You showed us camera footage of a dog killing Mr. Knight in his cell. Are you saying that Mutt also wiped the blood up before it left the scene? Uh-oh. What other tricks can it do, huh? The blood-wiping dog? You're a joke.
You'd have wiped that blood up, wouldn't you, boy? Yes, how much? Yes, you would.
What?
That was one of the tricks I taught him before our work together was so rudely cut short. He's a very tidy boy, you know. Never misses a drop. It wouldn't do to leave any evidence after all. Saved by an assassin of all people. Jeez Louise, you could have just taught the little guy to shake hands. Oh, he does that marvelously too. Although, the way I taught him to do it is somewhat unorthodox. First he bites down hard on the victim's hand.
La 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 la. I'm not listening. I see. Very well then, Mr. Edgeworth. It seems you may have gathered some evidence worth considering.
Your understanding is much appreciated.
Wait, I'm not done yet. I just thought of something else. Overruled.
Oh boy, somebody's taking no prisoners.
Eustace, would you be so kind as to allow me? Yours, Gavel.
Well, do you accept the truth now? The crime took place in Knight's holding cell, and the assassin's dog was the killer.
My position is the same as it was yesterday. Until you can explain how the dog moved between the prison and the detention center, I cannot accept your theory into evidence.
I thought you might say that, which is why I'd like to show you something else. This piece of evidence shows how the dog could freely travel between the prison and the detention center.
Take that!
This is...
It's a secret passageway. It runs beneath the prison.
What? That's a secret passageway!
It was dug by one Mr. Rocco Seto, escapee. It leads from his prison cell to a certain holding cell in the detention center. Yes, the very one where the victim was being held.
Well, this is certainly a surprise. To think that it was beneath our feet this entire time.
Mr. Canis, you knew of this tunnel, didn't you? Because it's the same tunnel that was used to carry out the murder.
In the name of the goddess of justice. Overruled, Mr. Edgeworth. You're out of line.
Hold it!
How so, Your Honor?
Evidence is everything, whether in a court of law or at the scene of an investigation. Isn't that your little catchphrase? Well, it just so happens that I have some evidence of my own. Bronco Knight's autopsy report.
His autopsy report?
When did we get that?
How do you know... How do you not know you had it?
The police handed it to me only a short while ago. The findings are still preliminary, but it has something of value to tell us nonetheless. The goddess of justice speaks to us through these pages, Mr. Edgeworth. Cause of death, stab wound to the throat, and the weapon is said to be a sharp blade of some sort. It seems the victim was stabbed repeatedly in the same spot, resulting in an ugly wound. As such, the police have yet to identify the exact shape of the weapon. But its overall nature seems to be beyond question. It is a bladed metal instrument. In light of this evidence, do you truly wish to continue with your flight of fancy? Or will you now claim the dog used a knife instead?
But that's impossible!
That will be all. This court is adjourned.
Objection!
But the tunnel, the paw prints. What of them? Helmut is something of a wanderer. Perhaps he just happened across this tunnel one day. Although I couldn't say for certain, I myself cannot wander quite so freely. That would be quite a coincidence, but I can't prove it's not the case either. She sure knows how to keep a secret, huh? Kinda wish she'd kicked us in the teeth a little earlier with that. She was baiting me, waiting for the perfect moment to crush me with that autopsy report. And I fell for it, hook, line and sinker.
You are lead attorney for the defense, correct, Mr. Fender? This is the interim autopsy report in question. I do apologize for the delay.
Yeah, no sweat. Thanks for hooking us up. Yep, this all checks out. Yep.
Mr. Fender, a handshake is not necessary when receiving official court documents, you know. So please feel free to let go of my hand. It's not a holy relic after all.
I was just trying to be friendly, Your Honor.
Had you lingered a moment longer, the goddess of justice would have spoken to you through my gavel.
Alright, I got it.
Nice work, gavel. Just like we planned. I did only as you instructed, Eustace. But thank you.
This report came from the police. I have no choice but to accept its legitimacy. But if the dog didn't kill Knight, then that takes Canis out of the running.
The goddess of justice speaks to me, Mr. Edgeworth, and she is merciful. She tells me that you might yet keep your badge if you will finally abandon this fruitless quest.
What's our move, sir? I think she really means it this time. What do you think, Detective? My answer remains the same, Judge Gavel. I will see my duty done, and I will not be intimidated.
Even with how things stand, you still refuse to concede. This may very well be your last chance. Your badge hangs by a thread.
Then let it fall if it must. I have something far more important to protect as an associate attorney. My client.
Goddess of Justice is no doubt saddened by your refusal to accept yet another offer of mercy.
Attaboy, Miles. That's what I like to see. Looks like the defense never rests is really starting to mean something to you. Credit to your old man, though. He's the one who said it first. My father. In fact, I could swear I saw Gregory's spirit in you for a second there. You said that you've changed since your days in Von Karma's shadow. I didn't believe you at first, but I'm starting to. Thank you, Fender. Alright, kids. This is where the rubber really hits the road. Put your thinking caps on. Make or break time. If it's true that Knight was armed with a bladed weapon, does our whole case really fall apart? Bladed weapon. Of course. There were 5 chisels in Canis's cell when we last looked. Former assassins certainly wouldn't struggle to commit murder with a tool like that. In which case, the weapon that killed Knight was...
Have you quite finished? It would be in your best interest to concede.
Evidence is everything. It may well be my little catchphrase, but it's also true. So the murder weapon was a sharp blade. Then where is it? The guards didn't find it.
Why can't you let this go? So what if they didn't find it? What are you driving at?
What if I were to tell you that I now know where the real murder weapon was? And it's right under our noses. And it was right under our noses the whole time. Indeed. It was one of Mr. Canis's chisels.
What?
Overruled.
I would advise you to stop bombarding us with your irresponsible half-baked theories, Mr. Edgeworth. You have repeatedly insisted that Mr. Knight was killed in his cell by a dog.
I simply go where the evidence takes me, both in the courtroom and at the scene of a crime. If the murder weapon was in fact a chisel, then yes, the murderer could not have been the dog. But that begs the question of what exactly it was we saw in the security footage.
Oh yeah, security footage. How'd you explain that, Mr. Smarty Pants?
An excellent question. The footage shows... Mr. Canis's dog jumping up at Knight. The dog attacked Knight, but he didn't kill the man.
He didn't?
No, Knight was merely knocked out. The dog didn't drag a corpse through the tunnel. He dragged an alive but unconscious Knight. The real killer was the dog's master. Oh, I get it. By bringing Knight here, Mr. Canis could finish the job.
And he could definitely use one of his chisels to do it.
Correct. You! But he'd harm a Canis. You're the only one who could have done it.
Objection!
Hey, Mr. Edgeworth, you ever get this on your report card? Refuses to listen, must learn to respect others.
Are you asking me to confess to what's on yours?
We already searched Mr. Canis's cell from top to bottom, right, Gavel? Yes. We even inspected his chisels. All 4 of them. There wasn't a single speck of blood.
Why, thank you, Your Honor. You've just confirmed my theory.
I have? What exactly do you mean?
The last time we were here, there were 5 chisels, not 4.
Oh yeah, I remember counting them. Definitely 5.
And the one that's missing is... the small one, the one we thought might be a pocket chisel. Mr. Canis, where did you hide that chisel? A pocket chisel. And what use might I have for such a thing? I am rarely allowed to leave my cell. In which case, he shouldn't have had the chance to dispose of the weapon. You've dug your own grave, Mr. Canis.
You seem to have an idea where the missing chisel might be, Mr. Edgeworth. Would you enlighten us?
For a man who can't leave his cell on his own volition, Canis can only have hidden his chisel here.
Take that!
Mr. Canis is still a prisoner. Despite the comfort he enjoys, he is rarely allowed out of his cell. He could have given the chisel to his dog to leave somewhere, but that would have been far from ideal. He would have no way of guaranteeing where it might end up. Intriguing. Do go on, Mr. Edgeworth. Furthermore, this room is the one place where a bladed instrument wouldn't raise an eyebrow. 4 chisels, 5 chisels, who's counting? A fact he took full advantage of. The old keep the indiscriminate evidence close routine. Classic.
Objection!
But I looked. I searched the whole cell myself, and just nowhere. There's just nowhere he could have hidden it.
Objection!
I'm certain that the murder weapon is here, and that the reason why no one has found it yet is because it was hidden in such an ingenious manner. Do enlighten us, Mr. Edgeworth. What was my ingenious plan? Think, Miles. There must be a hiding spot he could make use of. Think about when you came here previously. What are you missing?
I'm not missing the moment to save.
He's not showing us out permanently, right?
Let's get out of here. Come on.
The dog, he hasn't made a sound today. When we were here before, he barked and growled repeatedly. Canis even encouraged him to do so. That must be it. I knew something was off. I can hardly believe it, but I think I know where he hid the murder weapon. Giving up already. I expected more from you, Mr. Edgeworth.
Hold it!
As well you should. If you would give me a moment. This piece of evidence shows where you hid the murder weapon.
Take that!
Your dog, he seems unusually quiet today.
Oh yeah, unlike last time when... Mr. Canis, if you'd be so kind as to open Helmut's mouth.
Oh, come now. He hasn't barked because he was a well-behaved boy. I had to order him to last time. Then order him again, this instant.
It's not like we're asking for the world, Mr. Canis. Or do you have something to hide?
If you insist. Come on, Helmut. Open up. And there we have it. A chisel that small was easy enough to... Easy enough for a dog of this size to...
What? A chisel? In the dog? Why is there a chisel in the dog?
I thought he'd been strangely quiet. I guess his brain has finally caught up.
Eustace, why don't you be a good boy and call forensics? Tell them it's urgent. Okay.
Findings are as follows. Traces of blood were detected on the chisel.
What?
Not such a half-baked theory after all, was it? Alright, so we're all on the same page here? This is our murder weapon, yeah?
The forensics evidence cannot be ignored. We have no choice but to concede that this is most likely the case. Mr. Canis, in light of the discovery of the murder weapon, the court demands that you explain yourself.
We found the route your dog took to the holding cells, and now we have the chisel. How do you propose to talk your way out of this one? You never fail to entertain, Mr. Edgeworth.
Why does he always laugh like that, even when it's not funny?
Poor Helmut. How could they suspect us? You leave me little choice. I shall simply have to share with you the truth. I did not kill anyone. I've grown tired of killing. Something's not right. Why is he so calm?
Very well. The court will hear Mr. Canis's testimony. If you would be so kind.
Gladly. Perhaps you might begin by explaining what you believe to my motive to have been. I never knew this knight. I had no contact with him. No connection whatsoever. Given that this is the case, why would I possibly wish him dead? Could it be you are suggesting that it was my canine companion who had the motive instead? Helmut only bears his fangs when I tell him to. I am not so bloodthirsty that I would kill a man I did not know.
I mean, when he puts it that way.
An assassin who only kills his acquaintances. Not the soundest business model, I agree. My work required me to deal with strangers, of course. But murder for its own sake, that's not my style. So I need to prove a link between Knight and Canis. I should go over the evidence again and see what I can discover. Meh. Oops.
Hold
Hit
it!
the button. I'm puzzled by this focus on motive. Aren't you an assassin? Assassin or not, Mr. Edgeworth, I don't spill blood for nothing. Neither in a professional nor in a private capacity. That's just not how it's done, is it, boy? No, no, it's not.
Hold it!
You didn't know who he was. That's quite unlike you, Mr. Canis. You overestimate me, Mr. Edgeworth. Perhaps you had a harder time putting me in here than I had realized, but I'm no master criminal. That said, you're no run-of-the-mill prisoner either. You're the fixer, correct? I find it highly unlikely that a man in such a position would have no knowledge of the new detainee at all. Then you have a rather inflated idea of my position. I have my connections, yes, but I am not all-knowing. And I know nothing of Mr. Knight.
Hold it!
You're an assassin. Since when have you needed a motive? He's a strange man, isn't he, Helmut? Yes, yes he is. Is he a fool? A genius? It's so hard to say.
Objection!
Drop the act, Mr. Canis, and answer the question. No, you will answer mine. Who am I, Mr. Edgeworth? I'm the very same person you caught. An assassin. A murderer for hire. Were I one to kill without rhyme or reason, I would still be free to recite sutras in peace out there.
Hold it!
Of course not, but your dog was trained to kill. Was. What is this man talking about, Helmut? Why would he say such an awful thing about you? He is a silly man. That's what he is, yeah. Then perhaps he killed the wrong person. That would explain the lack of motive. Do your precious police guards attack people willy-nilly? Have some respect, Mr. Edgeworth. You're going to accuse Helmut of something. At least show us some evidence to back up your claims. And what if I had any?
Hold it!
Then you must have done so, didn't you? You wanted Knight's death. Oh, Mr. Edgeworth, you'll have to try harder than that. Have you forgotten what I just said? I did not know Mr. Knight. I did not even know that name. If you're going to insist otherwise, then the least you can do is show us some sort of proof. He must show us some proof, mustn't he, Helmut? Yes, he must. Whether it was Canis or his dog that committed the killing, Knight wouldn't be dead if Canis himself hadn't wanted him to be. So my first order of business should be to prove that Canis and Knight knew each other.
Objection!
You're getting sloppy, Mr. Canis. You may have trained your dog to clean up your mess, but some things still require a human touch. We found this in the victim's room. It's the record of a game of correspondence chess. What's more, the game depicted matches the game laid out on your board. What? The number of possible games has been calculated to be 10 to the power of 120, and that's on the low end.
Wait, so that's 10 times 10, 120 times over, right, 100,000. I give up. I mean, what do you even call a number that big?
A vanishingly unlikely coincidence, that's what. Now, tell us why you killed Knight. Unless that is, you would prefer to explain the coincidence. Well, they do say that truth is stranger than fiction. It is, as you say, a coincidence.
But that's totally impossible. We just proved that.
A coincidence of a different kind, child. I never imagined my correspondent was the victim, you see. And yet, here we are. Helmut is as surprised as I am. Aren't you, Helmut? Yeah. I suppose there's nothing for it but to finally tell the truth. Boy. The other prisoners had all gone to the yard, you see. And there was a show of some sort, I believe. Here I was minding my own business, when in comes Helmut, dragging corpse of all things. I had quite the shock, not least because the murder weapon was still in the poor fellow's neck. Of course, I was none too keen on becoming a suspect, so I had Helmut take the body to the workshop. Once there, he removed the murder weapon and brought it back to me, just as I had asked. The dog pulled out the murder weapon in the workshop. Indeed he did. Removing it here would have made an awful mess after all.
You know something? That makes total sense. Remember what Mr. Sorrett said, Mr. Edgeworth?
That huge black dog sunk his terrible teeth into the victim's throat. What did you just say? It was hellish, utterly hellish. That beast, that awful beast, he killed him. I see. So what Mr. Sword actually saw was Helmut removing the murder weapon then? Precisely. I can't say I wasn't a little disappointed that he was spotted, of course. Silly boy. It's not like you to slip up like that, is it? Now, And there you have it. That is about all there is to tell. I did not kill the man. At most, I am responsible for the removal of the weapon. Now, will that be all? Poor Helmut is growing restless.
Objection!
Sorry, but if you could entertain us for just a little longer, Mr. Canis. Pendle? No offense, Palio, but I don't think you've quite told us everything. I'm sure we'd all like to know why you thought you needed to pull the chisel out in the first place. He's right. Makes sense that he would move the body to avoid suspicion. But Canis had no reason at all to remove the murder weapon. So, the mute one isn't as dumb as I thought.
Please answer the question, Mr. Canis.
It was because of the bell. The one attached to the chisel and the one around Helmut's neck. Of a very distinctive design, if you will. Of course, there was something of a trademark of yours, were they not?
I don't get it. How does that even work?
Body Armor Canis, the blind butcher, whose appearance was always announced by the sound of bells. The last sound his victims would ever hear. You flatter me. Though it's been some years since you last saw one of them, you remember them well. Your knife and its attached bell were one of the pieces of evidence seized in our case against you. Yes, it was but one of my bells. One of only two in existence. Yes, two? Two and only two. One for my knife, and one for my beloved Helmut. Exquisitely crafted, utterly unique. My ears are my guide, after all. And I must be able to use my tools precisely. Of course, as you said, the knife has long since been taken from me. When Helmut brought the body to my cell, I was rather surprised to hear a familiar sound. At first I was sure that my knife had been used to do the deed. But no. Chisel. An ordinary chisel. It's certainly no assassin's blade. Nonetheless, the bell would have suggested my involvement. Compounding the matter is the fact that I am the only person in this prison permitted to use such tool. It was clear that I would become the prime suspect. And so the chisel had to be removed and hidden.
Hold it!
Blech. You still claim that all you did was help the dog move the body and that you had nothing to do with the killing. How could I? I told you, the chisel is not mine. You need not take my word, Mr. Edgeworth. Why not have it checked for fingerprints?
Eustace! Huh? Me? But I don't know how to check for prints. Get forensics. Oh, right. Sure thing. But we got him. Fingerprints. And Mr. Knight's.
And Mr. Canis's?
Nope. Just Mr. Knight's. Oh, and forensics said there's no sign of any prints having been wiped off.
Only Knight's fingerprints. This isn't good.
Did I get them to check again?
Now do you see? I have never so much as touched that chisel. Helmut carried it in his mouth, that is all. Therefore, any prince must belong to whoever had it last. Ugh. So, the murder weapon belonged to the victim. Oh, that's not helpful. As I said, I have not touched the chisel. Therefore, I cannot be the killer. Or do you wish to suggest otherwise? I've got nothing to counter with. What could this mean? Is he not the killer after all? Is he actually telling the truth? No, he can't be.
I am sure this goes without saying, Mr. Edgeworth. But if you do not find a solution to your current predicament and quickly, I will have little choice but to relieve you of your badge. Even my patience has a limit, and I will not tolerate you throwing this investigation into chaos. Am I clear?
You've done it now, sir. She's serious. I hate to admit it, but the fingerprints turn everything on its head. Without more evidence, I'm back to square one.
Wait, something doesn't add up. Few things, actually. What would Mr. Knight have needed a chisel for?
You can do a lot with a chisel, child. Break out of prison, for one.
Alright then, how did he get it in here? There's no way the guards would let him bring a super sharp tool in with him, right, Mr. Edgeworth? Hey, after Mr. Edgeworth! You can't stand there humming and hawing just because of a little setback. The important thing is finding the truth, you know. Doesn't matter how we get there. As long as we save Simeon in the end. We can't give up now, or ever.
Well, yeah, what she said. I'll second that. You want me around with that, Kay? I'm half tempted to offer you a job for real. It's like I said, the defense never rests. Or rather, like your pop said, what do you think lies at the heart of those words, Miles? Any guesses? The heart of those words. There. It's like this. As defense attorneys, our client's fate rests on our shoulders. We're the only ones they can turn to. It means our client, and we're the only ones who can save him. But we can't rest, not while he's counting on us. I'm not about to turn my back on your old man's legacy. Are you? I'm an associate with the defense now. No, I'm an associate with my father's firm. That's the role I have chosen, and that means that if I fail to save my client, I have failed in my duties. I will honor my father's vision and save Simeon Saint. No matter what setbacks I face, I cannot admit defeat. If one path is blocked, I must simply find another.
There we go, that's the Miles Edgeworth I know. And let's find that new path forward. We can start by trying to figure out how Mr. Knight brought that chisel into the prison.
Right, how would Knight have managed to bring a chisel in here?
Chisel?
Usually it wouldn't be possible to bring a metal object into this facility undetected.
Because of the security gates, right?
Correct, but we already know that checks at one of the gates haven't been entirely thorough of late. Namely the gate at the entrance to the detention center.
That gate is only used to scan people. Any items they bring into the facility are only subjected to a cursory check.
Are you telling me that the chess set wasn't put through the metal detector?
It should have been. Alas, it seems the guards have grown a little lax in that regard of late.
Knight took advantage of this little oversight and had Mr. Saint bring him the chisel, hidden inside his pocket chess set.
That does answer one of our questions. And it suggests that the chisel was indeed Mr. Knight's and not Mr. Canis's.
However, we still have one rather pressing problem to address. That of the security footage in which Knight is attacked by the dog. How does one explain it if Mr. Canis was not the culprit? But then, how do you explain his prints not being on the murder weapon? That one's a real three-piper.
The court too finds itself wanting for a satisfactory explanation.
Oh, wait, sir. I think it might be time to show you another one of my secret weapons. Introducing secret weapon number 4. DLV. What sort of name is that, Detective? I came up with it myself, sir. Anyway, you can use it to analyze the video footage. An excellent idea. Perhaps you might finally see that I am telling the truth. Who knows if there's anything to be found, but it has to be worth a try. Alright, want me to talk you through how to use it, sir? Seeing as I'm not exactly familiar with video analysis techniques, perhaps I should hear him out. If you could run me through its functions, Detective, that would be most appreciated. Oh, yes, sir. But basically, you just gotta do what you always do. Examine anything that catches your eye. And I can examine things with why, I see. Next up, see those controls at the bottom of the screen? Panels on the left and right let you rewind or fast forward, and you can use the middle one to pause. Get used to those and you're golden, sir. Means I can also press RB to fast forward or LB to rewind the footage. I can press A to pause. But when the video is paused, you can go to the previous frame with LB or the next frame with RB. Or you can just use the same control panels I showed you earlier. Lastly, I better explain how to zoom in. Just line up the old cursor with the area you want to take a closer look at. Then use the panel in the bottom right and little V will do the rest. It's got 2 expanding arrows right on it, can't miss it, sir. It would appear I can zoom in by pressing X too. But by the way, even when you're zoomed in you can still examine stuff just like in the regular view. Also you can make use of the previous and next frame to get a good look at what's really happening. Only thing you can't do when you're zoomed in is play the footage, so there's that. I see. Now do I zoom out again? Or just use the panel in the lower right again, sir? You know, it's gone from expanding to collapsing arrows on there. That's because you zoomed in. That about sums it up. Now let's fire little V up for real. Remember, just examine anything that catches your eye and you'll do fine. The footage from Knight's holding cell. Other than the victim being attacked by that dog, I can't see what else it might show us. But suppose we're wrong. What could we be looking at instead? Could the person in the footage be someone other than Knight? And if so, could whatever's attacking them be something else too? I should keep both questions in mind while reviewing the footage. Well, you never know what you're gonna see once you start looking at these things up close. Check every detail, sir. You'll find something, I'm sure. What in the footage seems odd? The figure is reflected in the mirror here too. Is that a hat? Oh, say, doesn't that look like the hats the guards wear, sir? Oh, geez, is that what I think it is? Have there been any reports of one of the animals attacking a guard recently? Not that I've heard of. So this may not be a guard at all, but somebody dressed as one. Perhaps this might shed a little light on the matter of the hat.
Take that!
So, no guards have reported being attacked by an animal as far as we know. But we did hear about a guard's spare uniform being stolen. Could the person in the security footage perhaps be someone disguised as a guard? Someone attempting to escape without being noticed.
A guard disguise? I guess it might work. Wait, weren't we just talking about someone?
We were indeed. Someone who seems to have successfully made his escape. If the person in the footage isn't Knight, then the creature may not be a dog either.
You're right, sir. Let's zoom in and check.
I think that's meant to be Gumshoe, not Edgeworth.
Sir, look!
There. I suspect we may have found a critical error of judgment. What we're looking at here is no dog. This animal is. That's not a dog, it's a bear.
What? So the paw prints from the photo I took?
We're not canine, but ursine.
A bear? So could that mean...
Yes, I think it could. After all, who else do we know with such a pet? We had assumed that it was Knight in the security footage.
And it was in his cell. And it was his cell. It's hardly a crazy theory.
Perhaps, but now we know about the hole under the bed. It is no longer the only possibility. Whoever had access to the tunnel could very well be the one caught on camera.
And who was that, Mr. Edgeworth? Would you care to tell the court who you believe this person to be?
The person in the security footage is...
Take that!
I believe I know who our guard is in disguise is. It is none other than Rocco Sarsetto, the prisoner who recently escaped from this facility. I'm confident it's him because he was assigned a polar bear cub as his companion.
The bear in that video is all black.
Indeed, and we have evidence that explains why. The evidence that explains the polar bear's dark fur is...
Take that!
Recall, if you will, Mr. Frank Sorrett's testimony. That's the rubber glove I dropped. Would you care to explain why it's so dirty? Oh, of course. That's mud from one of the pet treatments I've been practicing. I was giving one of the animals a mud pack right when the incident happened. I see. Around what time would this have been? Let's see. The show had already started, so around 9 AM perhaps? The thing is, the more mud I applied, the more in the zone I got, and the darker the animal's fur became. There's no trance quite like the trance one enters when one slathers an animal with thick black mud. While the circus performance was underway, he was giving one of the animals a mud pack treatment.
And that animal could have been...
Indeed, our polar bear.
Mr. Edgeworth, your latest assertion simply introduces yet another contradiction. The footage from the security camera.
I fully understand, Your Honour, and your doubts are entirely justified. Mr. Sorrett mentioned applying the mud pack while the circus performance was underway. And this does indeed introduce a new contradiction concerning the security footage.
It does?
Yes, let's put it this way. When would you expect the footage to have been recorded, Kay?
It was taken right after he applied the mud pack treatment. It should have been around 9 AM.
In which case something isn't right about the footage.
Really? And what's that?
What new contradiction does the security footage introduce relating to when it was recorded?
Take that!
Mr. Sword said he administered the treatment at around 9 AM. In which case the security footage should also show a time of around 9 AM. Around 9. However, the timestamp says 6:42 AM. On the day of the murder, the prisoners all went out to the yard to watch the circus. All except 3. Mr. Canis, who remained in his cell in maximum security. Mr. Sword, who was administering a mud pack treatment in the workshop. And Rocco Carsetto, who had been awaiting that precise moment to put his escape plan into action. I believe he entrusted the bear to Mr. Sword before entering the tunnel. And the bear then slipped out of Mr. Sword's grasp to run after its human. Mr. Sword would have then left the workshop to pursue the bear, at which point he saw Mr. Canis's dog retrieving the murder weapon from Knight's body. It all fits perfectly except for the security footage, which should have been recorded from around 9 AM. However, the timestamp is 3 hours off.
But why would the timestamp be wrong?
Detective, I would like you to have the security camera examined. Right away, please.
I'm back, sir. I just talked to the guards and... It seems like the time codes can slip on these cameras if they lose power.
What?
They're pretty old, sir. Guess the clock stops when the power's off.
Which would mean the power was off for approximately 3 hours at some point.
Oh, that's not all, sir. You remember how Knight denied stealing the keys? No one believed him considering, well, you know, he seemed kinda like the only suspect. Turns out that wasn't all he said. He also said he was knocked out cold just like the other guy.
Which may not necessarily have been a lie.
Darlings, there you all are. How goes the investigation? Is there anything I can do to help things along?
Actually, there might be something we can do for you, Warden Lagarde. The escapee, Mr. Carsetto. I believe he may still be on the premises. He's disguised as a guard. Here's the proof, should you need it. We're reasonably certain that the person captured on this tape is our man. And if I am correct, he might even be right here in this room with us now.
Hey, Mr. Cassetto would have been wearing a bracelet, right?
Yes, a bracelet that could easily be hidden under the sleeves of his stolen uniform. Furthermore, the doors out of the prison don't have those sensors that detect the bracelets installed. So if he avoided doors with sensors, he could simply wait for an opportunity to finally make his escape.
Well, yes, I suppose he could. He'd just have to avoid the workshops and the cells and... Oh my. He's one of you, isn't he? He's here right now. Look, Teddy.
Hey, paws off. Get your mitts off of me, you big palooka.
Thank you, Teddy. Very kind of you to confirm our suspicions.
Dang it, kid. If it wasn't for you, I'd have...
What a thing it is to be loved, huh, Mr. Cassetto? I'm almost envious.
Guards, apprehend this man.
A moment, if you will. I have some questions for our would-be escapee. If we are to learn the truth, I will need to speak with him. With your permission, of course.
I can hardly say no now, can I?
Well, come on then. Hit me with your best shot.
Mr. Carsetto's escape route led directly into Knight's cell, so it's highly possible he has something to offer. Tell me what you were doing on the day Mr. Knight's body was discovered.
So it was you guys, huh? You're the ones who found my secret getaway tunnel. You know how long it took me to dig that freaking thing? They had me a guard's uniform, a hole dug, and a plan in place. I went for it on the day you found the guy. Then this little guy just had to come right after me. The sack of fur was covered in mud too. Had to go back to our cell. Would have gotten away with it. Somebody had an off night and brought you bums down here. And claimed to have dug that tunnel just now. How exactly did you do it? Hell, used everything I could get my hands on, see? Hammers, spoons, you name it. But every dime I had on this cocker made me fix her. And what do I get to show for it now, huh? Do not be disheartened, friend. Tomorrow is another day. There's an outside chance Mr. Cassetto and Knight met face to face just before Knight's death. Let's just see what other details I can extract from him.
Hold it!
The tunnel you... Shut up, Who you telling to hold it? The tunnel you said you... You don't know nothing. You don't know what I had to do. I had to come crawling to the fixer monk. I had to grovel and cow down day after day after day. Are you gonna give me back the hours, huh? The days, the months? Can't get a word in edgewise. Should have never stuck your noses in my tunnel. Never.
Hold it!
So the tunnel was all your own work? Every inch. You see anybody else in my cell when you was there? Hmm? That's quite an effort, even for an athlete.
Yeah, now that I think of it, that is an insane amount of digging for one guy.
Yeah, well, you don't even know the half of it, kid. It ain't like I had a choice. Trust nobody and don't get caught. Them's the rules Con's gotta live by.
You know, the rules of being a great thief are pretty similar.
Okay, I'd rather you didn't start sympathizing with the suspect.
I was? Joking, Mr. Edgeworth.
It ain't no stinking joke to me. You punks owe me.
Hold it!
The uniform, was that from the fixer too? Sure was. But he had something on one of the guards. Had the guy swipe it from a pal's locker. And why are you wearing it when you were crawling through the tunnel? Nope, would have got dirt on it. Had to hold on to it till I got to the holding cell. Once I was out of there, and all dressed up, opening the cell door should have been a piece of cake. Here we go, I thinks. Freedom beckons. And then the furbo here jumps up at me. Which would be the moment captured on camera. I see. I'd be grateful if you could add that to your testimony. Once I was out of that tunnel and all dressed up, opening the cell door should have been a piece of cake.
Hold it!
Opening the cell door should have been a piece of cake, you say? Sure, anything seems easy after dragging yourself through a hole in the ground. And you were familiar with the layout of the detention center, even though you live in the prison? Why wouldn't I be? It ain't like I've never been there before. If he's familiar with the detention center, then he'd surely be aware. But unlike the doors in the main prison, the holding cell doors are locked with actual keys. And I'm sure Mr. Cassetto would have needed that particular piece of evidence to make his escape.
Hold it!
When was it that you realized you were being pursued? Right when I got out of the tunnel. Right when I thought I was home free. Ugh. You didn't notice anything before that? When you were in the tunnel, perhaps? Nah, he wasn't around. I made sure of it. Knew the little guy would have been all over me like a rash if he had been. I was so close, I could smell it. And then there he was, the You bum.
Hey, don't you think you're being a little mean to your friend? Or Teddy?
You ain't nothing. You rumbled me last time and now he's rumbled me again. Shit's all over me. What am I supposed to do? Coming after me yesterday was bad enough.
Hold it!
You didn't consider trying to escape with Teddy? Would have if I could have, but all that mud would have given us away. Chances to break out of the slammer don't exactly grow on trees, pal. When one comes along, you gotta do it right. Foiled by the one who loves him most. Almost tragic. There's an outside chance that Mr. Cassetto and Knight met face to face just before his murder. I should listen carefully to each of his statements and look over the evidence we have.
Objection!
You claim that leaving the holding cell would have been a piece of cake, as you put it? Yeah, you got a problem with that? 'Cause we can make it a problem if you catch my drift. Even once you had reached Knight's cell, you still had another door to contend with. How exactly did you plan on opening it? Mr. Cassetto, I posit that leaving the cell would have been a piece of cake only because you had the key. Don't got no stinking key. I didn't need one. It was a piece of cake because the door was open. I walked right out.
Objection!
Yes, I suppose Knight's cell was vacant by that point. There would have been no reason to lock it. And it was indeed unlocked when I went to examine it for myself. And perhaps when you finally succeeded today, it truly was unlocked because it was after the murder. But you had attempted to escape previously.
Yeah, the security footage shows when you tried and failed because Teddy caught you.
Which was during the circus performance, before the body was discovered. The holding cell was still locked at that time, because no one knew that Knight had been killed yet. Therefore, you must have had the key to his cell on you. Without it, your escape would not have been possible.
Are you sane? Could he really have...
I believe you could, yes. The theft of the keys was in fact perpetrated by none other than Mr. Cassetto. He was the one who attacked the guard. But not just the guard, Knight too, or to gain possession of the guard's keys. It wasn't me, you lousy bum. I didn't even know this Knight guy. After you stole the keys, you went back to your cell to avoid suspicion. And then you waited for the perfect moment to escape, a moment when the prison would be almost deserted. You know, the biggest leap of fucking logic here is the fact that you had a giant fucking hole under Knight's bed. And when they were searching the cell for the keys, they didn't look under there and see the giant hole. I mean, maybe it was only torn up after it was used this next time, but whatever. Ugh. And then you waited for the perfect moment to escape, a moment when the prison would be almost deserted. That's right, the moment of the show, just before the discovery of the body. And luckily for you, that particular attempt was thwarted by your furry friend. Says who, huh? You got proof, genius. This ain't your win yet, yeah? Knight knocked the guard out for the count, and everybody knows it. Don't play games with me. Knight was as much a victim as the guard in this case. As a matter of fact, I have proof that Knight had been attacked in his cell.
Take that!
We found traces of Knight's blood on the cleanly wiped floor of his cell. What could possibly explain such a thing other than him having been attacked? And it was you who attacked him.
You ambushed the both of them and stole the keys. Ah! Why, I oughta... What's with you, huh? That newspaper wiped that blood up good. Ain't no way you should have found it.
Okay, but why did you think you had to wipe it up anyway?
They checked Knight in the guard's hands, they would have seen those two never came a bloodless. But that bloody give up the whole game. Ain't no way they didn't figure there was a third man in the ring. Plus, once they started sniffing around on the floor, they'd have found the tunnel in a heartbeat. So you wiped up the blood to buy yourself a little more time, so you could wait for a better opportunity. Sadly, the opportunity you sought wasn't good enough to get you clear of the prison, it seems. Now, hand over the keys. Ugh. Right, in the kisser. KO'd by a lousy, stinking bum. Fine, you want keys? Yeah, I hope you choke on them.
Overruled.
Wait a moment. If Mr. Cassetto here had the keys...
Indeed, Your Honor. Your theory relies on Knight having used the keys he allegedly stole to escape his cell. That was the only way he would have been able to enter Mr. Saint's cage and be moved to the workshop. Unfortunately for you, we now know that that theory cannot possibly be true. No! Guess that changes things up a bit, yeah? Now the only person who could have moved Knight's body is the one person who knew about that tunnel. No, you gotta be freaking... Oh, Mr. Cassetto, you're under arrest. Come quietly now, pal. Wait, you got the wrong guy. Didn't do nothing. Right, fine. I knocked those two chumps out and I stole the keys. But after that I went right back to my cell and waited for the moment. Next time I went to Knight's cell there was nobody around. I mean nobody. Plus his body was found in the workshop. You think I just magicked my way in there or something? I couldn't have even gotten out of my cell. Indeed, you only had the key to Knight's cell. You couldn't have left your own cell back in the prison. But Mr. Canis's dog could. What? It was not you, but Helmut who moved the body from your cell to the workshop. I get it now. You're saying he wasn't the only con in this conspiracy. Indeed, one can easily imagine that Mr. Cassetto and Mr. Canis might have worked together. Mr. Cassetto could have killed Knight and dragged him back to his cell. And then Mr. Canis's dog took him from there to the workshop. There are no restrictions on the animal's movements within the prison. Movement between the detention center and the prison proper, however, is tightly controlled. There was only one possible route, and only you could have taken advantage of it, Mr. Cassetto. Can you be so sure, huh? Maybe there's more of them and you just don't know yet. Something tells me that digging even a single tunnel was arduous enough. You got that right. You tried scraping more than one hole in the dirt with a spoon. Luckily for me, I didn't have to dig the whole way. Somebody already did a bunch of the work for me. What? You didn't dig the entire tunnel yourself? Nope, found it when they put me in that cell. Ran all the way from there to the well in the yard already. Even looked down the well to check it from there. It was the same tunnel, alright. I just made good on what somebody else had already started. Then what was the original tunnel for? Who knows? You're the one with all the answers, pal. But maybe somebody else tried to break out.
Or maybe the animals dug it? Like to get water from the well or something?
I've heard of more plausible scenarios than that in B-grade movies, Kay. Well, the well's dry, kid.
Ain't no water to be had down there. Oh, come to think of it. A smell. Yeah. Always smell kinda nice down there. Nice? Gee, I don't know. Smelled sort of like dessert, I guess. A sweet scent. It sounds very familiar. Where did we come across a sweet scent before?
Take that!
Detective Gumshoe noticed a sweet smell when we were examining Knight's body. With the help of the police dog, we followed the scent of the body and traced its route back through the prison. And that, Mr. Cassetto, was how we found your tunnel. Could that same sweet scent be what you noticed coming from the well?
Very clever, Mr. Edgeworth. You mean to suggest that this is evidence of the body having been moved through the tunnel?
I do. Furthermore, Mr. Cassetto, you are the only person who could have done it. Nobody else had access.
You have our thanks, Mr. Cassetto, truly. Finally the truth comes into view. Now unburden yourself. It is time. Confess your role in this tragic incident.
What? You ain't pinning this on me. I'm glad to see that we are finally in agreement, Your Honor.
Oh, if only we were, Mr. Edgeworth. Mr. Cassetto may have been an accomplice, but not of Mr. Canis. No, he was working with Mr. Knight.
Hold it!
What do you mean?
I do not believe that he moved Mr. Knight's body. Instead, I believe that he lent Mr. Knight the use of the keys he stole. You gotta be kidding me. Granted, it seems likely that he attacked Mr. Knight, but that doesn't necessarily mean that Mr. Knight was knocked unconscious as a result. And what if he wasn't? What if he and Mr. Cassetto had reached a certain agreement?
What kind of agreement exactly?
Mr. Knight was plotting an escape for which he required a means of leaving his cell. And here was that precise means, in the form of the keys Mr. Cassetto had just stolen from the guard. Mr. Cassetto himself would need to pass through Mr. Knight's cell in order to effect his own escape. Mr. Knight needed only to shout and alert the guards, and Mr. Cassetto's plan would be ruined. And so, the two struck a deal.
Like, the only striking I do is with my fists.
My, still you deny it.
So, we're agreeing that we still disagree.
Mr. Knight had Mr. Cassetto unlock his cell, so that when Mr. Saint arrived he could escape into the cage. Mr. Saint was then able to move him into the prison proper just as planned. And then he took Mr. Knight into the workshop and did the dirty deed.
Objection!
Were neither of you listening? The scent on Knight's body proves that it was taken through the tunnel. It was moved from his cell to the...
Perhaps if you would let me finish, Mr. Edgeworth. I'm not denying that Mr. Knight's body was moved through the tunnel.
Then what are you driving at?
Is this a trick question? As you say, Mr. Edgeworth, the sweet scent shows the route the body took. However, it did not enter the tunnel from Mr. Knight's cell. Huh? Then how did it get down there? There is another possibility, one you seem to have overlooked. The well in the yard. Could a body not have entered the tunnel from there? The well in the yard? Oh yeah, that thing. Mr. Saint did not take the cage to the workshop. He took it outside. There, he killed Mr. Knight and threw his body down the well. Mr. Canis's dog then dragged Mr. Knight's body here to his owner's cell in the bottom of the well. On that note, I would ask you to recall something. What was happening in the yard at the approximate time of the body's discovery? A circus show, right? Virginia and Simeon were performing for everyone. Wait, Simeon? Indeed. And so you see how it must also have been him who disposed of the body.
Judge Gavel is a truly formidable opponent. He so effortlessly adjusted her theory to fit the facts.
I propose that Mr. Knight was taken to the yard, not the workshop. And as we have established, Mr. Saint was off stage for 15 minutes. Ample time to throw the body down the well. I'm sure you will agree.
Your deduction is impressive, Your Honor. However, even supposing that Knight's body was indeed thrown down the well, you cannot conclusively say that it was during the show. It could have happened at a different time.
My sympathies, Mr. Edgeworth, but it simply could not have.
What?
Mr. Cassetto was using the tunnel at around the time the show began. Mr. Cassetto, did you happen to trip over a corpse while you were down there?
No, place was clean.
If the body had been at the bottom of the well before the show began, then Mr. Cassetto would have seen it. However, he saw no such thing. Which makes it somewhat difficult to support your theory. Furthermore, Mr. Knight's body was discovered in the workshop after the show. In summary, the body must have been thrown down the well and moved to the workshop at some point during the show. Tell me, who else could have done that but Mr. Saint? What do we do, Mr. Edgeworth?
The body did indeed enter the tunnel from the well. Things don't look good for Mr. Saint. Still, Your Honor, your theory is still just that, a theory. And I posit that you lack the evidence to back it up.
I concede that for the moment I do not.
May I suggest that we investigate the yard again?
Very well. May the goddess of justice go with you.
Now then, to the yard. Perhaps we can finally put this case to rest. What's that sound?
Yikes! Is there a fire?
Oh, did somebody else escape?
Should we maybe skip town too?
Darlings, please. There's nothing to be alarmed about. By which I mean that's not an alarm. It's the dinner bell. Although I suppose it is rather alarming if you aren't used to it. It certainly scared the heck out of me. I'm so sorry, Sweet Pea. I hope you can forgive us. Alright, you two. Back to your posts. Chop chop. As for you, Rocco Corsetto, it's time you went back to your room.
Fine, I get the picture. Come on, Daddy, we're out of here.
Warden the guard, we'd like to take one more look around the yard now.
Oh, darlings, don't you have homes of your own to go to? Visiting hours are over, I'm afraid. Tomorrow,
No, it's imperative that we investigate it right away.
I think we've had quite enough excitement for one day, don't you? Murderers, escapees, so eventful. It's time our guests went home to Betty Pie, isn't it? Yes, yes it is.
Ugh.
Come on now, darlings. Don't make me bore you with all that. I am the warden. This is an order nonsense. Warden Lagarde is right. Her word is law here, and we must respect her wishes. Mr. Edgeworth, your investigation of the yard will have to wait until tomorrow. You may keep your badge for now. The matter of your standing can wait. I bid you all good day. What are you all waiting for, kittykins? Off you go.
Fine. At least there is tomorrow for me. Judge Gavel believes that Knight's body was dropped down the well, and then taken through Mr. Cassetto's cell to the workshop. Is that truly the case? Do the facts really support her theory? He also seems to believe Mr. Saint had to be the one to move the body. Was he really the only one with the opportunity to do so?
Come on, Mr. Edgeworth. Tomorrow's another day. We'll figure out a way to save Simeon. I know we will.
Yes, we will. I will prove that Mr. Saint is innocent, beyond a shadow of a doubt. I now think it's the warden. I very much do. I think she's going to plant false evidence. But, much like Edgeworth's investigation, that can wait till tomorrow. Because my voice is starting to go again. There's no way I'm getting a full other part of it out. So, that will be all for now. And we shall continue this tomorrow. And now, bye.